Clara dos Santos had always been a determined woman. Since she was little, she had heard her mother say, "Never let anyone tell you that you are worth less because of your skin color." Those words stayed engraved in her heart, like a shield against everything she would face in life. She grew up in a poor neighborhood, in a small but dream-filled home. As a child, Clara loved drawing buildings. She would grab old sheets of paper and borrowed pens, spending hours imagining how she could transform a neighborhood where she lived. She wanted to create beautiful, strong buildings where families like hers could live with dignity. Life, however, was not easy. At 16, her mother fell ill, and Clara had to drop out of school to work as a cleaner. It wasn't what she wanted, but it was what she needed to do to survive. Deep down, though, she never gave up on her dream of becoming an architect. Every day, as she cleaned the hallways of a fancy downtown building, Clara would watch people in suits walking by with their briefcases, talking about projects and construction plans. She quietly listened, learned, and observed the drawings left on the tables. One day, without thinking too much, she made a small comment about one of their designs. She suggested turning the building entrance toward the morning sun to get more natural light and save energy. The room fell silent. One of the executives looked at her with disdain and laughed. "Oh, so now you're an architect? Are you going to drop the mop and become an engineer?" The others laughed. Clara didn't. She felt the shame burning on her face, her heart tightening. But she didn't let a single tear fall. She went back to work quietly. And in that moment, something inside her changed. A fire was lit. That night at home, she looked at her old drawings and made herself a promise. "I'm going to prove I can do this." She started studying by herself with borrowed books, free videos, and hand-me-down notebooks. She slept only a few hours a night, torn between hard work and her studies. Many people told her it was a waste of time, that people like her didn't make it that far. But Clara stopped listening to those voices. She learned to listen only to her own. Years later, she managed to enroll in an architecture course for low-income students. At first, it was a shock. She was one of the only black women in her class. The judgmental looks were constant. Whispers in the hallways. Fake smiles. Some classmates completely ignored her. Some teachers doubted her abilities, even when she delivered excellent work. Racism was there, in the looks, in the silence, in the closed doors. But Clara stood strong. She studied harder than everyone else. She worked harder than many. It wasn't easy. She thought about giving up more than once. She cried alone many nights, but she never gave up. Then came the big day, the final project presentation that would decide the highlight of the entire course. While others presented grand, unrealistic ideas, Clara showed a design that was both beautiful and functional, a well-lit, affordable building for low-income communities. When she finished speaking, the room was silent. The professor stood up, looked at her, and said, "This is the best project I've seen here." And guess who was sitting in the audience that day? The same executive who had laughed at her years earlier. This time, he didn't laugh. Soon after, Clara was hired by a respected construction company. Not out of pity, but because she was truly good at what she did. The first building she ever designed was built in the very same neighborhood where she grew up. Seeing families move in and smile was the greatest victory of her life. Today, whenever Clara walks past the building she designed, she remembers every time someone told her she couldn't do it. She remembers the laughter, the looks, the doors that were shut in her face. And she smiles because she won. Because no one has the right to decide how far you can go based on the color of your skin. Racism tried to silence her, but her courage spoke louder. Clara's story is living proof that talent and determination have no color, and that even when the world tries to tear you down, you can rise and write your own story.